Church asks you, do you glorify war? I served in the United States Navy as a surface ship weapon fire controlman. It was my job to do this, which I view with a nostalgic sense of pride and also a sense of awe and terror. Do you glorify war? War, the irrefutable evidence of irrationality, stands among the greatest of human outrages and is perhaps the most horrific of obscenities. 1945, Hiroshima. Nearby bombings and exhausting air raid warnings increased Hiroshima's residents' anxieties and suspicions that the Americans had a special attack in mind for them. On August 6th, 1945, and 8 a.m. all clear sounded. 15 minutes later, they were the objects of the first great experiment in nuclear power, more power than 20,000 tons of TNT, 2,000 times the blast power of the largest bomb ever before used. Like the sun everywhere, an intense light flashed, completely silent except for miles away. Then in an instant, everything changed, illogically. Everything. Shocking pressure slapped buildings into the river, while others simply collapsed. Where a desk and a suitcase had been, only the unharmed suitcase remained. While some people flew into other rooms, a man stood unmoved, but with his slippers gone from under his feet. Other people died so fast that they ghostily appeared about to continue their activities at any moment. Still others remained solely as shadows photographed in detail onto baked red concrete walls. Tile walls melted, X-ray films exposed, potatoes baked instantly in the soil, a pumpkin roasted on its vine. All in an instant. The air darkened and huge drops of condensation fell, due to the bomb blast's 6,000 degrees centigrade temperature, its pressure, and to convection currents set up from city-sweeping fires. Hot, typhoon-like winds churned small bodies of water, ripped up large trees, and scattered even heavy wreckage. The fire forced people into the river and the churning water. Many drowned. Then people got hungry. Someone ate that roasted pumpkin. Several weeks later, all sorts of weeds, flowers, and grasses covered the wreckage, their growth accelerated by the bomb. And that felt strange, for even mild wounds had not yet healed at all. In a day, people's yellow flash burns, some of which branded clothing prints into their skin, turned red and swollen with the skin now off, and then just stunk. Skin slipped off like gloves. Some people burned or skinless from head to toe, endured hours in the salty river. Burned people called out for water, but water made them vomit. People vomited anyway. Even the electrical smell of bomb ionized air made them sick. About 10,000 sick and disgustingly wounded showed up at a hospital where only one doctor remained fully physically functional. They lay there in structural, mechanical, and bodily debris, and among surgical instruments, glass, blood, and vomit. Distinguishing the dead from the living was difficult, for both had their eyes open in silence. Some died with no visible injuries, and nobody was around to remove the rapidly growing number of corpses. The morning after, the city's living lay among the thousands of his dead, remembering that any of them either were or once were human beings did not come easily. Stage 1 of radiation sickness killed many people quickly by cellular breakdown. Others got nausea, headaches, diarrhea, energylessness, and high fever. Stage 2, higher fever, hair loss, bleeding gums, anemia, immunity disorders, and sores. 3, chest cavity infections and strange, deep scar tissues. And let us not forget the many cancers, the odd physical effects, nor the sudden and unexpected deaths of the apparently fine, which occurred many years later. People behaved irrationally, yet with civil courage. A woman crept from her demolished house, went back, brought out her sewing machine, then tossed it into a barrel of water. A young woman held her dead baby for 4 days, waiting for her gone husband to see their child one last time. Another sat mending her slightly torn kimono. From under blazing rubble, people tenderly asked, "Help if you please." One member of a group of about 20 people, all with eyeball fluid running down from their hollow eye sockets, somewhat cheerfully said, "I can't see." An observer responded, "A doctor will hopefully come and fix your eyes." The few more fortunate often felt guilty for being able to walk or for being able to offer help. A man slowly walked out of town but felt strangely drawn back to the violence. There, people suffered mostly quietly, together in body and in spirit, for the sake of their emperor and Japan. Those with the energy to theorize about what happened did so, however incorrectly, for nobody knew what really happened or the extent of its damage. If they had been told, they would not have comprehended it anyway. The American government, it minimized, heavily censored, and even ignored the bomb's effects. The co-pilot of the Enola Gay, which released the bomb, got in trouble with the Pentagon merely for reporting on TV his immediate flight log entry. My God, what have we done? In time, survivors shifted their anger's direction from Americans to the Japanese government. Their government not only had got Japan involved in doom, but now didn't help them for more than a decade. Many of the survivors made American friends and closed their mouths about the past. And the bomb just was. By 4 decades after the explosion, survivors' spirits had lifted somewhat. They rebuilt their lives in varying degrees of drudging weariness and happiness. Most of them involved themselves in various helping professions or services. Horrors faded into the distance, but from time to time sudden bodily symptoms served as reminders. Japan's emperor's surrender of the war symbolized Japan's surrender from war as a whole. The new Hiroshima has become a place of structural beauty, memorial, and of world peace centers open to all. But just as memories turn blotchy for the individual, so they turn for the world. Harvard Church wants to know, do you glorify war?
Экипаж одевает защитные очки. Точно по расчету сработала парашютная система. Бомба приближается к точке взрыва. Высота 4000 метров. Осталось 3 секунды. 2, 1, 0. Взрыв сопровождался световой вспышкой необычной силы. В этот момент самолет-носитель находился в 45 километрах от места сброса. Вспышка и последующее свечение, несмотря на сплошную облачность, были видны в радиусе до 1000 километров. Кривой столб, поднимающийся с земли, быстро увеличился в объеме. Через несколько секунд после взрыва диаметр пылевого столба составлял около 10 километров. В это же время с самолета, находившегося в 250 километрах от точки взрыва, был виден огненный купол из раскаленных продуктов взрыва. Увеличиваясь в размерах, облако медленно поднималось вверх. В своем конечном развитии оно достигло высоты 60-65 километров. Его диаметр равнялся 90 километров. В дальнейшем облако начало утрачивать грибообразную форму. Вспомним, как выглядело опытное поле до взрыва. Теперь его вид сильно изменился. На десятки километров вокруг опаленная взрывом земля.
According to 33rd degree Mason Manly P. Hall, the Atlantis race became a nation of wicked magicians. In consequence of this, war was declared, and with that declaration, the Atlanteans instigated the First War. And it has been said that all subsequent wars were fought in a fruitless effort to justify the first one and to right the wrong which it caused. War still smolders in men's hearts. It cannot die until human selfishness, perhaps the greatest horror of humanity, is overcome. Do you glorify war? Whither bound, pilgrims? Whither bound? Whither bound?